Not everybody thrilled at this announcement, including the Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, former Mayor of London. Of course, he doesn't think it'll actually happen.
Well, the first thing to say is how grateful I am to the Prime Minister for allowing people like me, cabinet colleagues who take a different view about the future of aviation, to express our views, at least for the time being. And I'm going to continue to make my point. I do think that building a third runway slap bang in the middle of the western suburbs, the greatest city on earth, is not the right thing to do. No other world city would dream of subjecting so many hundreds of thousands of people to more noise pollution in the way that a third runway would. And what I worry about is that down the line, if and when a third runway were to be built, I don't think it would be, but suppose it were to be, there would be an overwhelming clamour to build a fourth runway as soon as it was completed. And then what would London be like? You know, you'd have a New York, a city of beautiful skyscrapers, Paris, a city of light, London, the city of planes. Is that really what we want for our fantastic capital city? Long ago, we put forward in City Hall, when I was Mayor of London, we put forward alternative plans for a 4-runway, 24-hour hub airport that would launch this country abroad, that would give us fantastic connectivity with the rest of the world. Had we got going then with that project, we would now be at least half or perhaps 2/3 of the way down the track. I think in the long run, we will have to go back to those ideas, because I'm afraid to say, I think that Heathrow in the long term is not in the right place, and I'm afraid a third runway is undeliverable.
As you say, the Prime Minister has given you some freedom to speak out on this issue while remaining a member of the cabinet, but you can't campaign against the government's position on this. So what are you going to do? Are you going to lie in front of bulldozers when the building begins?
Well, I think the day when the bulldozers actually appear is a long way off, if indeed they ever materialise to build that third runway. Because after all, there are at least 4 Conservative-led councils that have already made clear they're going to litigate against it. My view is that the whole proceeding will be snarled up in objections of one kind or another, legal objections of one kind or another. And I really repeat my point. Do we want the greatest city on earth to be transformed into, in parts of it, a hell of aircraft noise? I don't think we do. I think there are far better solutions, and as long as I'm able to, I'm going to respectfully going to make that point.
There is a year's consultation now that will now begin before MPs have a vote in the Commons. Do you feel you do have the freedom to contribute to that? You can speak up, make your point. And why in the end do you think that the Prime Minister, the vast majority of the Cabinet, the CBI, other business groups, why are they all wrong on this? And you're right.
Well, we live in a majoritarian democracy, and there is no doubt that for the majority of the people of this country, for whom Heathrow is the hub airport, the fate of inhabitants of this city is perhaps not of primary importance. What matters is connectivity to the rest of the world. Now, my point to you is that we can satisfy the need for connectivity with the rest of the world without, as I say, creating an unacceptable erosion of the quality of life of people in this city. And we should have started that project years ago with a 24-hour, 4-runway hub airport in the Thames estuary. That is the answer.
Just finally,
or indeed another of the sites identified by TfL.
Just finally, your friend, colleague Zach Goldsmith is resigning, causing a by-election. Did you ever think about it? Did you ever wonder if your position in the government could fit with being in a government that was signing up to something that you opposed so passionately?
Well, as I say, I'm very grateful to the Prime Minister for giving me and others the freedom to make our points. And I do intend to do that in a useful way. I think that there are some very crucial facts that people need to understand about the third runway. It's very difficult to finance it. It will cause an immense amount of disruption. You have to build over the M25. There are colossal problems still to be solved. And then you have a future in which London will be flown over by 250,000 more flights per year, with, I'm afraid, an inevitable degradation of the quality of people's lives. No other great city would do this to its inhabitants. As I say, New York is going to be the city of beautiful skyscrapers, Paris the city of lights. London in the future, if we go ahead with this project, will be known as the city of planes.
But you think it can be stopped?
I think it very likely that it will be stopped, and I just remind you that this is not the first time the UK government has publicly decided in favour of a third runway at Heathrow. You will recall it was the Blair government that did exactly the same. So we've been here before, and I fear we are going to see an inevitable fight in the courts, and I think the chances of success of the proponents of the third runway are not high.
Boris Johnson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, just to remind you, at 3:30, we're doing a BBC Ask This. If you've got any questions for Simon Calder, the ways to get hold of us are there. Hashtag BBC Ask This. It's all about airport expansion. Any question for Simon Calder, let us know. We'll be back with the headlines in a couple of minutes. I'll be joined by Jane, but now look at the weather, and Jay Wynn has the latest.
Thank you, Simon. Good afternoon. And it's something of a north-south split across the United Kingdom today.